and welcome back to HardHat Uncovered. I am Tamika Miles, and I am here with Dylan Hipple, and we are recording our first full episode of the conversations. So, Dylan, today's topic, I'm told, is going to be safety culture. What will we be discussing?
Yeah, so we want to talk about how to create a safety culture within a company, because it's something that a lot of companies set out to do. Is they set out to kind of establish a strong safety culture, but they don't really have the right tools or the right means and methods to do that. So what we're going to do today is kind of discuss the four main topics that I think really create the strong safety culture. There's no perfect formula, but these topics are kind of something that you can get you started in the right direction.
Okay.
So the four topics would be: safety is everyone's responsibility, empowering employees, getting employees engaged, and practicing what you preach.
Okay, I love it. So let's start from the top. Safety is everybody's responsibility. So recently I was in a meeting and I heard that cliche statement again, and someone noted it as being such, but it's very important. So is it valid?
So it can be cliche if your company views it that way. So what we need to do is we need to buy in and have everyone buy in that safety is your role, your responsibility. So, and we'll just talk about construction for a second. It's everyone's job, from the labor, from the carpenter to the plumber to the steam fitter to the project manager to the superintendent to the vice president that walks out on the job. Everyone needs to view safety the same way. Everyone's goal is to look out for their own safety and safety to others. Too often in companies, you'll have an employee of an upper level walking through a job site and walk right past a hazard and never say anything. That they think, oh, that's the safety guy's responsibility, that's the foreman's job. And same thing on the other end of the spectrum. You have the laborer say, oh, that's not going to affect me. So you need to really buy in that safety is everyone's job. If you see something, it's your responsibility to say something. So basically, from day one with a company, that needs to be instilled in the employee. This is what we have to do to empower them and to make safety everyone's responsibility.
Okay. Do you think that specific term, the wording has to be used, or could we play around with it?
Oh, it can definitely be different phrasing. It's just that they need to know that their job involves safety. That is in their work description. However you want to word that, however you want to phrase it, it just needs to be in their work description that they're there to work safe and to look out for each other.
Agreed. So once the job, the employee, the leaders cast down and say, this is what we do, what's next? We say empower the employee. So how do you and your team use your powers to empower those who aren't safety people? So
one of the biggest things is making sure there's a platform for someone to be heard. So anybody can have a safety concern, but if they don't have a platform to express that concern, how are they going to get their point across? So that's one of the biggest things. And then another thing is giving the employees to take action against unsafe acts and conditions. So a lot of companies will have a stop work policy, but is that stop work policy really you have the power to stop work, or we just say that to meet the safety requirements? So you need to have that stop work policy and maybe use it as a positive reinforcement. If an employee is going to stop work over an unsafe condition and it's validated, there needs to be no repercussions, and maybe we use that as a positive reinforcement. We give that employee some incentive for doing that kind of stuff. So different topics like that can be used to give employees the power. They need to feel like they have the power and that they can exercise that power. If you say we have a stop work policy, but nobody's ever stopped work for any reason, do you really have a stop work policy?
Right. I like it. And so when you say, give that employee some incentive, do you think that money's the great incentive or not? That's the topic.
So that's something that you'll have to discuss within your own company. But it can be a simple thank you. It can be a simple, giving someone a small reward, safety points, safety tokens, T-shirts, money, whatever your company decides to do. But if there's some sort of positive reinforcement, it'll encourage them to continue doing that type of behavior.
I want to say I agree. And the third topic that we want to segue into, what a great moment, see how we do that, is the engagement. Because I think when you have a fully engaged workforce,
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of build out that empowerment piece.
Right.
So this is definitely one of my areas. I think that this area, the engagement, is a great opportunity to be creative, come up with some strange but not strategies to just, you know, keep people hype about it. So boom, where has your success been with this?
So there's a lot of different ways you can go about getting employees involved, but one of the greatest ways is having them involved with the actual policies and procedures that are written. If you bring those employees in and get them involved in that aspect, they're more inclined to follow something because they're the ones out in the field doing the work every day. They're the ones putting work in place safely. They know the best practices. They know the best procedures. Working with them to figure out what those procedures are and getting them involved in writing the policies and the steps makes them more inclined to just want to work safely. Secondly, you can do things like safety committees, safety walks, employee safety officers. So, for instance, you can once a week pick a different worker and walk the job site. So not everyone looks at you know, the work area the same. You know, I see hazards a lot differently than somebody else sees hazards. You know, I can walk the job site with you, and you might see something that I've never seen, and vice versa. So getting employees involved in safety walks weekly, it really opens up their eyes. They start to see how you see things, and like I said earlier, vice versa, you see things that they see. So that's a way. Safety committees where, you know, you put these employees in a safety role and give them an opportunity to kind of move up in that aspect. Or even employee safety officers, same thing. So there's a lot of different ways you can get involved in safety and really make a difference.
I'd like that. I've definitely heard about people taking managers or, you know, high-level execs on some of these site visits. I can't say that they're always excited about it. I do, however, like the whole pick from the litter of employees because it might bring you some real insight.
Yeah, like I said, some of the best ideas come from the guys who've done this for 30 years, and you know they've really honed in the perfect way to do something safely and something you might have never thought of before, and now you're seeing it and they're telling you and you're like, yeah, you're right.
Or not safe.
Or not safe. Yeah, that happens a lot of time. We've always done it this way, so it goes both ways. But you know, as long as you're open and receptive, that's the best thing.
It's true. I don't want to tell anyone's personal story. However, there was a situation, long story short, where someone did something unsafe for almost 30 years.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
It's crazy. Okay. That's it's really good. Eye-opening. And so, let's go to church. Preach, 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 preach.
So, in today's world, you see a lot of companies have safety built into their slogan. They have it instilled, but do they really preach that? So you see safety is everyone's responsibility, safety first, you know, all these slogans, but do they really believe it? So you got to make sure we're actually putting safety over production. You're listening to safety concerns, and not only are you listening to them, you're taking action against them. We're using the stop work practices. We're doing these things that, you know, we say we're going to do. If we say we're going to do something, we need to really believe it, and our employees need to believe it, because, you know, if I'm saying we're a safety first company, but, you know, if I come to you with a safety concern and you just blow me off, are we really safety first? You know, so making sure we're following up and really doing things the right way will get your company to that level.
Yes. So when you don't practice what you preach and people see that, it can ruin the morale.
Exactly.
Which takes us back to your first point, safety is everybody's responsibility. If I don't feel that, I can disengage. We can hit all those points. I'll disengage and I'll be like, nah, and just keep working, creating more problems.
So this was just a small bit of this. You know, we touched on those 4 topics. There, like I said earlier, there's no perfect formula for this, but these are kind of some ways you can get started and start to create that culture within a company.
Yeah, agreed. And so ending on this note, when you said there's no perfect way, but measuring your success is very important because you will come upon what is working for you.
Yep, exactly.
Are your employees happy? We are.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.